Ahead and get rolling. I'll call to order tonight's Wednesday, May 22nd meeting of the All Community Council. And we're so delighted to have even a few of you here joining us. And if everyone could mute their computers or their phones, that would be most excellent. Thank you. All right. So to begin with, why don't we do a bit of a roll call here. Maddie, are you staffing us this evening?
I am. Kyla,
Okay.
unfortunately, is not able to be here, so I will be filling in.
Okay.
I'm gonna go ahead then?
Yeah, go ahead.
Okay. So as we remember, we will do round robin at the end. We will leave time for comments, if any, for items not on the agenda. For anyone on their phone, *6 to unmute and *5 to raise your hand. And so far, we have, sorry, my computer's loading. We have Bonnie Roberts, Bruce Reed, sorry if I said that wrong, Emily Herden, Frankie Feinstein, Jerry Delis, Chris Hanley, Marta Brown, MCAT, Stephanie Lamberg. I think that's everybody. Oh, Chet Krauser, Chris Lansbury, and Emmy Bristow.
Okay, who are we missing out there? Do we have anyone? I see an unknown user lurking out there. Okay, the unknown user will go unknown for the time being. Oh, there's a hand up. Go ahead.
Remember, *6 is to unmute.
Or if you're on Microsoft Teams, just there we go. Go ahead.
Jane Kipp.
Hi, Jane.
Thank you, Jane.
Hi.
Welcome. Okay. Well, we'll just monitor who else might be joining us as we go along, but any other words of introduction, Maddie?
Not that I'm aware of at the moment, Commissioner.
Okay. Good
Oh,
enough.
we actually, we just want to remind everybody that we will not be having meetings July, August, and September coming up.
Okay. Thanks, Maddie. And Maddie, for folks who have not met you previously, do you just want to introduce yourself?
Yes, sorry. My name is Maddie Scott. I am one of the administrative assistants for the commissioners, overseeing boards and councils.
All right. Now it looks like we have Grace with the Witness Protection Program out there. Hi, Grace from the Swan. And you're muted. Grace, we can't hear you. You need to unmute yourself.
Oh, how about that?
Perfect. We got you.
All right. Thank you so much for sending me a note.
Okay. Great to have representation from the Swan. So let's roll into it. We don't have a whole lot of agenda items tonight, but begin with Chris Lansbury. Are you out there? And would you like to tell us about how we're going to move forward with this spend a day with the commissioner concept?
Yeah, thank you, Commissioner Strohmeyer. I am out here. Hopefully everybody can hear me. I'm having camera issues, but hopefully not mic issues. So we have been working with the commissioner's staff and have come up with a plan that we think might work for this idea of folks being able to spend a day with the commissioners and participate kind of in that process and learn a little bit more about how the commissioners work through their day. And what we'll be doing is sending out 2 dates to each community council for you guys to look at. Because remember, again, this is just a pilot program, so there'll be an opportunity in the future if this goes well and people are finding it enjoyable and something that's helpful and meaningful to expand that out to all community council members. but we're going to send 2 dates to each community council that work for the commissioners' calendars for folks to be able to come in. We'll be sending those out tomorrow to the chair of each of the community council members for you to take to your next meeting or the next time you guys meet to hopefully go through, and hopefully those days will work. If not, Christina in the commissioner's office and our Kyla Lennertz, who's normally on here but isn't on tonight from Lands and Communities, will be able to help with any adjustments that we need to make with those. But that will be happening here starting tomorrow. We'll send those out after we have a chance to talk about it tonight.
Great. Thanks, Chris. And just for a reminder for everyone, the idea here is to give any of the community council members who have an interest in this to simply tag along with the Board of County Commissioners for a day and attend all of our meetings, see what we're up to, ask questions that you might have, and hopefully it will be a valuable learning experience and something that will be of use. So any questions or comments on this? Okay, well, more information to come.
Do we get to sit in your chair?
Absolutely. You can sit in any chairs you want. Since we have no assigned seating, it will be easy.
Okay.
Okay. Well, moving on. Thanks for that, Chris. That was way less than 15 minutes. How about we roll into Lands and Communities? Chet Krauser, who is our Chief Land and Communities Officer, will talk to us a little bit about the annual report of the Lands and Communities Office.
Yeah, thanks, Dave. So I'm Chet Krauser. I'm the Chief Lands and Communities Officer, and I will give credit to Kyla because she is the one who put this together. But as Maddie mentioned, she's unable to join us tonight, so I told her I would pinch hit for her in presenting this a little bit to the folks on the call tonight. And you probably have seen this from us in past years, and maybe even this year, I think had seen the annual review from Public Works. So this is similar, if you remember back to those. I'm going to share my screen really quick and just take a few minutes to run through the pages and give you a high-level overview, and then we can paste the link into the chat and you can take a look and take a deeper dive on the things that you might be interested in. So I will take 1 second here and share my screen. All right, and Dave or Maddie, if you can confirm that you can see this for me.
We can see it.
Yep,
Perfect.
sure can.
So this is the landing page. When you access the link that we'll paste in the chat, this will what will take you to the first page. And you'll see on the left there, Lands and Communities, kind of our overarching office structure. And then each of these tiles to the right are going to be representative of the various programs that we have that are housed under our office. So we do have a bit of a reorganization ongoing. So this is going to change a little bit, and some of our new structure will be represented here, and then others you'll see materialize probably in the next year. So look forward to maybe some changes here as we go. But the landing page basically just gives you that overview, and then we include a land acknowledgement here, recognizing that Missoula County is located within the homelands of the Confederated Salish, Upper Kalispel, and Kootenai tribes. But I'll start here with Lands and Communities. That's, again, kind of the overarching structure. It gives you just a little bit of a sense of some of the administrative role that our team has and that we take on, in addition to the wildfire program, which is a little bit of an incubation program that we've had here for about a year. And Tim LaRoche is our wildfire program manager. But here you can see kind of our approach. We strive to maintain and enhance a quality of life that makes Missoula County an extraordinary place to live, work, and visit. We collaborate with residents, businesses, nonprofits, tribal, and other government agencies to help direct the future of Missoula County and our communities. So if you think of all of the various departments we have housed under us, they all kind of adhere to that same mission. And we have several departments, as I mentioned. So we have, we have Planning, Development, and Sustainability, Ecology and Extension. We have a new department called Lands, Culture, and Recreation, which is, again, something you won't see listed in this annual report, but will in the future. That comprises largely the county's parks and recreation amenities and programs. And then we also have Grants and Community Programs, which is a program that's been around for a while, but we're in the process of kind of helping reestablish some of the role that they play both within the county and to partner groups outside of the county government. So But in terms of administrative capacity, we work with you all, with your community councils. Probably many of you are familiar with Kyla, and I know I've had the privilege of visiting with a handful of you, if maybe not most of you. So that's one of the things we work on. We also administer a number of boards. As examples there, the Consolidated Planning Board, Food Policy Advisory Board. We have a number of others that our various departments and programs help administer, as well as cooperative approaches with other agencies and government organizations like the Front Country Recreation Co-op. So those are a few of the things that our administrative staff work on. And then our wildfire program does any number of projects throughout the county, working largely in coordination with the Office of Emergency Management, really focused on how we as a county can help work with community residents on helping their properties and homes be more resilient in the face of wildfire events. So a lot of work there. We were just recently awarded a pretty significant grant, just shy of $5 million over the course of 5 years, that will help us do some additional work there and kind of expand that program. So we're pretty excited about that. You can read some more details about some of the work that Tim has been up to in those bullets below. So we'll scroll back to the top here, and moving over to the next tab, you'll see grants and community programs. Here's some of our awesome staff. They like to celebrate grant awards by making pie and sharing with each other. So that's what you're seeing in the photo there. Some excellent made pies by some of the grant staff. They largely are addressing community needs through partner support, program development, and grant funding. You can scroll down through here, and they've got a highlight sheet that will give you a bit of an infographic as to some of their impact areas, the acquisition of grant funds that they've brought into the county, some of the partner relationships they have. And then as you scroll down further, and I'll talk a little bit more about the rural grant funds, because I know some of you might be interested in that, but also just the growth in their program. So looking at the growth from fiscal year 2018 to fiscal year 23, and you can see the growth there from 5.5 million to 11.5. So they've had some pretty significant success and growth over the years. It highlights a few projects, the Buena Vista wastewater system, which is one that has just recently wrapped up here. And that one had been ongoing for a while. Some nice photos of some of that work. And then talks a bit about the rural grant program, which I know you've heard about in terms of opportunities to apply. Really nice map there with some of the work that is happening out in a number of your communities. So things like the swimming lessons at the Seeley Lake, up in the Seeley Lake community. We've had biathlon improvements, some music programs that have been functioning all throughout the county, fall festivals, senior center support, et cetera. So take a look at those. And as you're interested or have ideas for grant funds, of course, feel free to let us know and we'll try to connect you to those opportunities. Also are helpful in issuing the grants for a number of other programs that come along the way. One example of that is a water and irrigation district grant that emerged through some of the ARPA funds. And so that's something that our staff helped administer as well. Also the Housing Innovation Fund, which is a newer fund for the county to support housing initiatives and housing needs throughout the county. We have a kind of an exciting recent development with the Two Rivers resident-owned community housing preservation project in Lolo, working with community partners and helping that kind of come into fruition. And they're working on finalizing that here in the early part of this year. So there's some additional links there and information, as well as kind of some projections into the next year and things that they'll continue to work on and take on into the future. So scrolling back to the top, you can see at the top Ecology and Extension, our next department. That is the new facility that you probably all have seen and maybe even had a chance to go and visit the Butterfly House on the Fairgrounds campus. They also have a printed version of their annual report that does go into a lot more detail. You may have seen copies of that, or if you're interested in that, Ecology and Extension can definitely connect you to some of that more detailed information. But here's just some awesome photos, and you'll see some of these in their other publications. They're largely categorized in these four kind of program areas: ecosystem management, horticulture, nutrition education, and youth development. So here, this photo is of their new facility. If you haven't had a chance to come and check out the Gerald Marks Rocky Mountain Gardens and Exploration Center, please get down there and have a look. It's a phenomenal facility. The Butterfly House is there, and then we're looking forward to the gardens emerging and starting to take shape here. There's been a lot of active work going on there, and it's going to look great here into the spring and summer, and definitely during the fair. So it talks a little bit about that new facility. There's some neat interactive tools here where you can kind of swipe and see some of the various things that are going on. This is some photos of the work that's been occurring at the gardens, and then a view from the office there over the gardens looking across the fairgrounds. The Department of Ecology and Extension really strives to cultivate resilience and inspire growth by empowering communities through hands-on education and sustainable practices in those various program areas that I mentioned. So they go through and talk about some of their work. Biocontrol project, pollinators are definitely top categories for them. We were recently a Bee City USA, and that's only because they don't have Bee County USA designation. So we as a county are a Bee City USA, so an important pollinator piece that they're working on. Also really heavily involved in aquatic invasive species for some of you that are up in the Sealy area or headed up Highway 200, Highway 83. Our staff there are helping to facilitate the watercraft check station up there at Clearwater Junction. So they're really involved there. Here's some details on what they've seen, some of the inspection activities that have taken place, and then a little bit of kind of the visitation around where they're seeing folks from and where folks are going. The next category is horticulture, some information about the Master Gardener program. Then dropping into nutrition education, a lot happening there, everything from kind of cooking and canning and food preservation, food as medicine. And this photo is the Honeyberry kitchen. And so they do a lot of interactive programming there. It's a pretty cool space. It's got a lot of camera angles and stuff, so you can watch the cooking demonstrations and education facilities. So they've been doing a little bit of that and are super excited about the opportunities that'll probably be coming here into the near future. That's upstairs in the new facility. Youth development, you can see Stephanie, our staff person there, with some youth out in doing some educational work and natural resource work. They also have the 4-H program and the oh gosh, I'm blanking on FNEP now, Food Nutrition Education Program, and I'm blanking, I apologize on the first E there. But also Youth in Restoration, which is a program where Stephanie runs and gets kids out to do projects with supporting natural resource agencies. You can find links to, I should have mentioned at the bottom of these pages, so the find us online will take you to their individual websites and can give you some more ideas of work they're doing, or if you have questions or need context for staff, those are great places to find those things as well. Let's see, I'll jump to planning, development, and sustainability. They're working to improve the quality of life, protect public health and safety, and increase equity in Missoula County. This is kind of our core planning function as a county. There you can see some of the staff. We've had a couple of changes there. So where it seems like we've had folks pursuing other opportunities and bringing new staff on. So that's at least a fairly recent shot of who all we have in our office. You'll see here for the first few links are really kind of geared toward giving you some quick links and access resources for a number of topics that our planning, development, and sustainability department work on. Here you can see that we have our Electrify Missoula page, Climate Ready Missoula. Those are a couple of kind of really popular websites for information around electrification, decarbonization, climate ready, resiliency planning, things like that. And then we also have a link to our online permitting system and property information system, which hopefully you've all at least had a chance to take a look at. It's a great way to get information about your or other properties in the county and find resources, documents that are associated with properties, et cetera. So it can be a pretty handy tool. We also have the Missoula Development Dashboard. So that's something that we've been working collaboratively on to try to give kind of a snapshot of some of the development activity that's going on around the Missoula community. There's any number of different ways you can take deep dives into that data and get information. So that's kind of a handy tool if you're curious about development trends or specific kind of development numbers. I encourage you to check that out and look into it a little bit more. It just has some trends and kind of what we're seeing in terms of development review and the number of projects and things that are coming in from developers throughout the county. We talked a little bit about our new zoning regulations and permitting numbers overall. Here you can see some of those both illustrated in charts and then some graphs that just span a few years here looking back to give you an idea of what we've seen here lately.
Hey, Chip, I just want to, oh, never mind. They said they didn't mean to raise their hands. Okay.
Oh, was there a question out there?
Frankie, did you have a question right now, or did...
No, I accidentally hit that, so sorry about that.
Oh, that's okay.
No,
Sorry.
no problem.
Carry on.
Yeah,
Go ahead, Chad.
that's great. So just some highlights of the program there. They've got a project, the Corner Farm Village, which some of you might have heard about, so you can get some more information about that. Scrolling past some of those, again, don't want to take too much of your time here. There's a lot of floodplain mapping that's occurring and some updates that affect various parts of the county, so you can get a number of there's some links here to get you the information you might be interested in if those things are going to affect you where you live, but also help summarize some of that work and what to expect. Looking at some of our longer range planning goals and implementation, Y infrastructure plan, which I know those of you in that area have been aware of and are curious about. So information about that. And then our zoning code, as I mentioned, we've had that in place for a while, but now looking at some of the maintenance updates and things that we can do to address things that either got missed or need some small corrections here as we move forward and implement that code. Same thing with subdivision regulations, just trying to highlight some of the changes, largely that came from new legislation at the last legislative session. You can see some of those listed in bullets there. And then again, looking ahead with planning and some of the things they'll be working on, as well as climate action with some of our clean electricity, energy efficiency goals, and then trying to achieve our milestone work in 100% clean electricity. So a number of things we've been doing there in terms of both solar projects and green power program work that we're trying to accomplish, working with Northwestern Energy and others. Also just working on energy efficiency with our buildings internally at the county. And then we have some other opportunities like the heat pump water heater rebate, which is helping folks in their own homes hopefully tackle upgrades that both increase energy efficiency and also can help us get closer to some of those carbon neutrality goals. A little bit more about carbon neutrality there for us, and then community resiliency, just really looking at the things that are happening around us and how can we help develop more resilient communities. We've had some great recognition and some awesome funding successes in terms of grants to help us move those efforts forward. And then looking at everything from extreme heat, wildfire, smoke, and any number of other high priorities in the climate action space. Again, there at the bottom, you can look at their website for a little bit more information. And then these last two categories, parks, trails, and open lands and fairgrounds, are two divisions within our new Department of Lands, Culture, and Recreation. This photo here should be at the top of the screen for parks, trails, and open lands, should be familiar to those of you in Clinton. So Frankie, I'm sure you're well aware of what this is. This is the Clinton Community Skate Park project that's been going on down there. So there's a lot of excitement around that. That's one of those projects that's been ongoing, and we've been working closely with the community there. Parks, Trails, and Open Lands, a vibrant and adaptive program focused on conserving and connecting the places we all share and enjoy. They have a fairly small staff, but they've got a lot going on and pretty wide-ranging impact on both community health and other natural resource, natural environment, and recreation opportunities and needs throughout the county. So they have got their information all structured in the form of this map, and I won't take time to go through each of these points, but you can see on the side kind of the photo thumbnail there with a subject of what those projects are. And then on the right-hand side, you can see the little mark points there that show you throughout the county where these projects are taking place. So just to hit a couple examples there, we've got Marshall Mountain Park listed, Piltsville Trail pavement improvement, Lolo School District Playground, some Lalonde Ranch stuff. We had a pretty cool cyclocross event out at Big Sky Park. Frenchtown Little League, there's all sorts of stuff there, Potomac School Playground, so feel free to dive in and get some more information about some of the work that they're up to. We've got Clinton Skate Park highlighted, and then some trail initiative information as well, just as far as kind of what's happening in that shared use path world, and continue to expand and maintain those connections. They've also got some numbers here if you're curious about where some of the funds are going relative to like open space bonds or matching grant programs, which I know a lot of the communities on this call are well aware of. That gives you a sense of kind of where the dollars have ended up and what kinds of projects are being looked at. And then again, looking forward, you can see our staff there in Parks, Trails, and Open Lands, and then get an idea of some of the things that they'll be working on here into the next year. And then the last one here is Fairgrounds. And the Fairgrounds, as many of you I'm sure are well aware, has just had an amazing transformation in the last few years. And it's just really created a whole new opportunity for the public to engage and sets the stage for just tremendous success of the fair event itself. But the Fairgrounds promoting agriculture, education, culture, recreation, community connection, and to reflect the beauty and history of Western Montana. That's their mission there. There's some really neat photos here. The entryway to the Fairgrounds, the Butterfly House and Ecology and Extension offices are to your left of that arch. And then as you kind of head in there, to the fairgrounds. That's the archway that you would see up the south. And this is kind of a neat photo of the Exploration Center, Gerald W. Marks Exploration Center in Rocky Mountain Gardens at night there. So really excited to add that piece to the campus. There's a few little stories here. Waste reduction at the fair. They had just sort of really amazing success diverting 74% of waste from the landfill. And they really had low contamination rates, 1% of all that stuff they were able to haul away. So a ton of this went to compost. And there were a bunch of volunteers that were helping keep those cans sorted. And it was amazing how much it reduced both material going to the landfill, but then also the cost of hauling the material there. So that was pretty exciting. This goes into quite a bit of in-depth detail. You can read more about that effort. Fair food favorites. Who doesn't want to know what the favorite fair food is? So this will give you a sense of what was most popular there, and get a sense from quotes from our staff that are working there on kind of how those conversations were going. And then a little bit about some of the exhibits and some of the projects and the work that was submitted during the fair. Some really cool stuff. And hopefully you've had a chance in Fairs Past to take a wander through and see some of the work that folks throughout the community have completed and submitted as fair projects. It's pretty neat stuff. Fair statistics, that'll give you a sense of numbers and visitation a little bit. And then new and exciting coming up, and you may have seen this, the old grandstands have been demolished and they are actively building the new ones. So I was out there today and seeing some of the parts that will hold the new seating in place. So they had cranes lifting large concrete pieces out there. And here again, you can see the interactive piece of the old grandstands and the Missoula Stampede Rodeo. And then this is the shot from the other direction and looking toward the grandstands with what that will look like down the road. So look forward to that and look forward to a cool fair and rodeo and other events there in the new grandstands arena. And had a tremendous gift from Missoula Concrete in order to help us get there. So there was about a $750,000 donation in helping us get that new arena up and running. So we also have a new music festival coming in 2025, so you can read more about that. And as I mentioned, you'll see more information that's going to pull the rest of kind of the program areas and divisions that'll be part of Lands, Culture, and Recreation. Those will be not only the fairgrounds and parks, trails, and open lands, but also Larchmont Golf Course and Marshall Mountains. So we just recently hired Randy Arnold to be the director of that department, and he's underway right now helping pull all those folks together and get that new department off the ground. So that was a whirlwind. I know I was probably talking too fast, but also didn't want to take too much of your time tonight, but happy to answer any questions that you might have.
Thanks, Chet. That's a little thin. I think next year you're going to have to add some detail to your report, Chet. No, that was awesome. Excellent report and resource. And hopefully this gives a snapshot to folks of all of the work that's going on behind the scenes. So any questions for Chet? Yes, Stephanie.
Hey, so I was wondering, because one thing that I've thought that Missoula's needed for a long time is like a dark skies department, and I didn't see that. So if you have an idea of something else that, I mean, Missoula's doing a lot, I see, but how would you go about proposing some new division in your department?
Could I jump in, Chet? And I might be wrong on this, but your eyes did not deceive you. There is no dark skies department because we don't have the authority to have dark skies ordinances as counties in Montana. Perhaps there could be the ability to have something like what the city has by way of dark skies ordinance through zoning, but that would be a kind of a roundabout way to address that. Am I wrong, Chet?
No, I think that's right, Dave. I was just going to say there are some ways of influencing that through zoning and other regulations, but by and large, we're fairly limited on some of those things. But ideas and certainly community initiatives to try to help and address those things and come up with ideas is always welcomed.
So it looks like
Okay,
Karen has her hand up. Karen can now prove both of us wrong, Chet, perhaps.
No, I put it, can you hear me?
Yes.
Okay. I put my hand up before you came through with what you had to say. Yeah, zoning is the best tool that county has to provide dark skies regulations. In the new zoning code, there are some dark skies provisions related to the lighting standards for commercial and industrial areas. We're pretty light on regulations related to residential, but that's the tool that counties have, is zoning.
Stephanie, anything else you wanted to add there?
No, I guess then it goes back to the original question as, well, I don't know. No, actually not. You guys have, that's a lot of work that you have in front of you right there. So.
Well, as we move through the next planning process, make sure that that is mentioned, and we'll continue to work on zoning and other tools that we might be able to use to implement dark skies across the county, if that's of interest to our community.
I hear you, Stephanie, though. Back in the day when I was serving on the Missoula City Council and recognizing that the city council has more, the city of Missoula that has a charter and is self-governing has more authority than Missoula County does. I was the sponsor of the city of Missoula's outdoor lighting ordinance, which is focused on dark skies, and I totally appreciate where you're coming from, Stephanie. Other questions? Okay, Maddie, Chet, or Karen, would you mind putting in the chat the link to that report so folks could find it and read it at their leisure? Okay, thank you.
I'll do that right now, Dave, unless somebody beats me to the punch.
Okay. Moving on, next we have a report. Well, once you get done with that chat, we have a report on the status of the Evero Finley O'Keefe Community Council.
Yeah, you bet. And my apologies. I accidentally pasted the link that will take you directly to the fairgrounds. The second one is the one that will take you to that main landing page, and you can navigate your way in there. It won't preclude you from getting to any of the other pages, but just confused your links there just a bit. Yeah, Dave, thanks. I'll jump into this next one, and it's a fairly brief item. Just mostly wanted to make you all aware of an item that'll be going before the county commissioners tomorrow, and wanted to take a chance just to visit with you all because this is kind of a unique situation, and wanted to make sure if there were questions around this or concerns or things you were hearing in your community, we had a chance to touch base with you. And I'm going to share my screen again just to give you a view of what this page looks like. And again, we'll put this one in the chat as well. Dave, are you seeing that, hopefully?
Yes.
Perfect. So this is the Missoula County Voice page. If you go to that main page, let's see. There we go. You will see, and we'll provide you the direct link to this item, but if you happen to Google Missoula County Voice, it's going to take you to this main landing page, and you'll see there at the top for right now, because it's recently posted, an Evero Finley O'Keefe Community Council dissolution item. You can click the Learn More tab, and it'll take you to this page. Again, Kyla is the one who's kind of taking the lead on this, but I had told her I would help share this information since she couldn't be here. It gives a little bit of background there as to where we have been, but basically since September of 2019, there has not really been a quorum or an ability for the Evero Finley O'Keefe Community Council to meet. And so we've had a number of different conversations along the way and over the years. And tomorrow, the 23rd, and this will be at 2 p.m., the county commissioners will open a hearing, and then we'll start accepting comments on this proposal that would dissolve the Evero Finley O'Keefe Community Council. So there's some information here. You can see the links that are available in terms of getting you to those meetings. And then there's also some comment opportunities here. We've already received a couple of comments. So feel free, if you want to share the link with folks that might have comments, or you have comments yourself, feel free to submit those. And then you can see some of those that have been submitted, posted on the site. There's also some supporting documents there, such as the draft resolution that would then dissolve the council. So we mostly, again, wanted to highlight this because it's a pretty unique circumstance that we would be undertaking something like this. And we certainly know that the community councils are important voices in their communities, so don't take these steps lightly. But given that lack of ability to hold meetings and an inability to have a quorum and fill those seats, this is kind of our most recent conversation. So that's really all I have to share there, unless there's questions.
Any questions for Chet on this, or for any of us on this topic? And as Chet mentioned, it's not something we take lightly, but also on the other hand, there's no need to keep trying the same thing and expecting different results. If after 5 years we cannot get a quorum for a community council, I think that's a strong indication that maybe this is not something that is desired or particularly wanted or needed in a community of Missoula County. So, and that's okay. Welcome, Commissioner Slotnick. And
thanks. I'm sorry I was late. I was in Helena and drove back in the rain, and then had to do one other thing. So, but I'm glad to be here right now. Thanks.
Thanks, Jerry. Go ahead.
Yeah, thanks. I just had wondered if the conversation would roll into dissolving Evero and into combining it with West Valley, or is that going to happen with the boundary adjustment that we have requested? Thanks,
Jerry. Chet, go ahead.
Yeah, so this step is just to address the Evero Findlay O'Keefe dissolution, and so there will be a process around that. That'll be the first step. I know, as Jerry's alluding to, there's some questions and interest about how to have representation, at least with some of those members that were part of that Evero Findlay O'Keefe boundary. Many of the existing community councils follow school district boundaries, and so I think what Jerry is alluding to is an interest in maybe having the Frenchtown School District boundary be essentially representative of the entirety of that West Valley Council area, which would then take up and provide representation for some of the folks on that would be without a council in the Evero Findlay O'Keefe area. It wouldn't encompass all of them because there's a couple of school districts that actually overlap the Evero Findlay O'Keefe district there. So those will be the conversations we'll have as the next step, Jerry, to answer your question. But we've gotten some information from the West Valley Community Council requesting us take a look at that, and that would be something we'll probably pick up in the fall, just given the fact that we know that the council out there is going to be taking a break over the summer. But we'll work on that kind of on our end to just sort out what that process looks like so we can make sure to be responsive to that request.
Thanks for the question, Jerry. So two-step process there. Any other questions or comments from folks on this? Okay, thanks, Chet. So our final agenda item tonight is our tradition of just doing a round robin of all the community councils across Missoula County and hearing from anyone who wants to share what you've been up to and try to cross-pollinate what we're up to and learn from one another. So Maddie, would you be so kind as just to name off the various community councils, and if there's anyone present, they can pipe up and share what they will.
Yes, of course. We will start with Bonner Milltown.
This is Jane Kipp, and I believe I'm the only one on. We recently had a meeting of the Bonner Community Council. Dave Strohmeyer came and gave a discussion on the Big Sky Rail Authority, which everybody enjoyed. And the fact that it's probably still 7 or 8 years in the future. There were recent elections for the Bonner School. The general levy passed, but the safety levy did not. And the Bonner graduation from the school is going to be held on June the 5th, and there are scholarships available. So that's all that was discussed.
Thanks, Jane. Before Maddie goes on, something I just want to highlight. I'd forgotten that they do this out in the Bonner Milltown Community Council, but they have baked into their agendas something that they call the bouquet period. And what this is, it's on every one of their agendas, and it's an opportunity to talk about something positive, provide a compliment to someone in your community council, and it's a nice antidote to what oftentimes ends up being the case is the tendency to focus on what's not working, and it's just a lovely way to build into the agenda some focus time on what actually is working in our neighborhood. So thank you for that out in Bonner Milltown. Go ahead, Maddie.
Awesome. That is great. Moving forward, we are on to Clinton.
I don't know, Bonnie, do you want to go or do you want me to take it?
Go ahead, Chris.
Okay. Yeah, so May 16th was our last regular meeting for the year until September. Starting in June, we will have a new member, Deborah Bissell. And that May 16th meeting was also the last time we'd have our secretary with us, Susan Holloway. She's moved out of the district, so we are losing her, but we have somebody to replace her. Yay. Let's see, our community conversation is Thursday, June 27th. The council, we are working on some informational flyers that give a background of what the council is and when our meetings are that we want to provide to the public. We're just trying to get more interest in our meetings. Also, we are working on a little community feedback survey. It is very, very brief. We are hoping to give out this little informational flyer and this community feedback survey out at the Clinton Skate Park grand opening and at the community conversation on June 27th. And that's all I had. If any of the other council members have something that I missed.
No, I know we had a guest speaker talking about this one initiative that's on the ballot this year, having to do with local government review. We shared with the community, and he passed out little booklets of Montana's Constitution and then the United States Constitution. So I thought that was very nice. And I'm looking forward to the Clinton Skate Park grand opening on June 1st.
Thank you.
Alrighty, East Missoula.
So I think I'm the only one on here from East Missoula. I guess before the first things first, Lisa and I both have been appointed, or we've been granted a 3-year term, so we're kind of fully staffed in East Missoula, so that's good. Don't have to worry about being dissolved. And at our last meeting, we tried our hand at having people running for office coming and speaking to us, which actually worked out really well. And we do appreciate the guidelines that came just in the nick of time because we averted a problem. But Ted Morgan and Connie Kehoe, who are both running for House District 92, came and spoke, and we gave them equal amounts of time to speak. And there were questions. And also Jean Curtis was there, who had written that really nice article in the Missoula Current. And she spoke with us for a little bit. And Josh Slotnick spoke about taxes. So we actually had a really good, productive meeting this last meeting, which was nice.
Awesome. Anything else, Barry?
No, I think that's about it. We are going to be meeting in June, so we have one more meeting to go for the year.
Okay, it doesn't look like anyone from Evero is on. So Lolo. Is Marta still on here? Yes, she is. Looks like you're the only one for Lolo. You're muted right now.
All right, maybe we can come back, Maddie, if they figure out how to unmute themselves.
Okay. How about Sealy Lake? Is Bruce still on here? It looks like we lost Bruce. Okay.
Am I
Oh.
unmuted now?
There you go, Marta. Okay.
Sorry, I was looking in my own little window, not up at the top. Yes, so I'm representing Lolo. I'm a little bit horrified because I have been elected to be the secretary, which I was not expecting at all. We had a changeover in April. Our chair stepped down, our vice chair and secretary stepped down. So I was nominated to be secretary, which is not, I don't do the typing like this, like a stenographer, like our prior secretary was doing. And I was like, dude, I'm not that guy. And they said, oh, just take like the highlights and write them down. So I'm a little bit deer in the headlights at this point. But I will say, last month, having been my first month in having to take down notes and having to transcribe them to be able to distribute them electronically, it's been a challenge, but it's been, and like I said, horrifying for me, someone who is not used to doing this type of job. But it's also strengthened me. And so I'm finding that this is something that I'm really learning from, and it's stretching me. I will say one of the things that I learned from just our last month, like 2 weeks ago, May 14th meeting, was that it caused me to really pay attention to what's going on in our community, from our school superintendent to our deputy chief, fire guy and the assistant fire guy, and just like really taking down what the audience, the community members have to bring to the table. It really brought me to pay such attention to that I'm really happy that while it's a struggle, I will say it's a struggle right now for somebody who's a hunt and peck instead of like a stenographer. But it's really good because I'm really listening to what's going on in our community. So I'm looking forward to what that's going to bring to the Lolo community in the future. There's nothing that stands out to me from our last meeting per se, except for printing. And that's pretty much it. So I'm really happy to just have stepped up into a position that is uncomfortable, but I feel is going to be prosperous.
Thanks, Marta. To decrease your uncomfort level, if you've not done so already, please do reach out to Kyla, who can help provide some insight in terms of what the bare bones legal requirements are of minutes, because I think there might be the tendency to think that you need to include a lot more in the minutes than maybe what you actually need to. So we're all about relieving stress.
When I look at 8 pages of minutes from a meeting that I've attended, I'm like, wow, like that's a lot. But I have read up on what the requirements are. So I do understand that. So I'm again, I'm in my first month, but I'm hoping to find that happy balance where it's not a burden.
Okay, well, feel free to reach out to Kyla. There's no reason that any of these minutes need to be 8 pages long. I can assure you of that. Jane, go ahead. Thanks, Marta.
I was wondering how the community of Seeley Lake is handling the closure of Pyramid Lumber.
Well,
so-
it's not closed yet. So I think they're handling it fine right now. I can provide a little bit of an update for folks since we don't have any representatives from Seeley on the line. There's a lot going on as we speak in terms of potential investors. There's several groups of potential investors looking at doing what they can to keep the Pyramid Mountain Lumber facility open and running, and also in the long term to build a new, more modern facility. So that's all I know right now. Within the next 1 to 2 weeks, we'll probably know something more definitive, but that's the time frame that we're looking at to know whether the mill will shut down or not. So well, and as you might have heard, Roseburg Lumber shut down in Missoula as of today. So one option that we've been exploring is there an opportunity for dislocated or displaced workers at Roseburg to actually lend a hand up at the Pyramid Mountain facility, which, as you may or may not have heard, one of the big challenges at Pyramid and Seeley is they don't have enough workers. They need about 150 employees to keep that fairly antiquated mill running, and they just don't have enough workers. So if there's a way in which displaced workers from Roseburg could go up there and help out, that would be an option. Thanks for the question, Jane. Back to you, Maddie.
Alrighty, moving forward to Swan Valley.
Hi. Well, we have just learned that our Condon Work Center, our station there for the Forest Service, it's been here forever. When I was a little kid, it was running a cook shack and all the firefighters, housing for them, bunk houses, 3 homes on the property, and our Swan Valley Connections that handles that, giving out our permits for firewood, for any kind of information on trail hikes. They do a lot of stuff in the woods, tracking and animal counting, and they're pretty neat little group of people. But they have until March. I guess they have to be out of there by March because the Forest Service is going to convey this property, which could take 2 to 5 years. So we just learned this last night at the meeting, and so we're going to try to figure out where we can put Swan Valley Connections, or see possibly Forest Service can let them stay there a little longer. Hopefully we can convey it into the community so we have housing for seasonal employees, teachers, law enforcement. You know, those buildings, I've been working on this for about a year now, asking why can't we use it for our community, for law enforcement or school teachers or seasonal workers. So hopefully, now that we know that the Forest Service does convey this land, that we can figure something out that'll work within the community for a positive thing.
Grace, does convey mean sell?
Well, I talked with Chris Dowling quite a bit day before yesterday. I've been talking to him about it now for a month because I knew they were going to convey it. He said what the Forest Service is trying to figure out is, do they lease the improvements like they do Holland Lake, the buildings, and keep the land, or do they sell the whole thing, you know, to a private entity? Hopefully not. Hopefully they can work possibly within the town and the community and the county and doing something positive with this infrastructure that would really come in handy, I think. for our community. I think it might be a blessing. It might, because right now it's just sitting empty. Nothing, I've talked to you guys about it. It's just nothing's happening with it. There's 3 homes. There's 2 bunk houses.
Yeah.
There's a cook shack. There's the main building in the front there that is all offices for Swan Valley Connections. I mean, we don't even know where they would go. I was talking to Lou.
We'd love to. I think it'd be great to have them, Dave, if they could, what do you think if they could talk to us about what Flathead Forest's interests were, and if there's some way we could work with them?
Well,
Yeah,
I was going to contact you guys and contact them and see if we can get a meeting and get some kind of common
Let's do that.
ground. Okay.
sure.
Let's do
Yeah, this
that.
is the first I've heard of that. So thanks for the heads up, Grace.
Yeah.
Yeah.
Yeah, let's make those connections, Grace.
Okay, Leanna Martin, the regional office, is pulling all, calling all the shots, I guess, on this. So I'll call Anthony, Leanna, and Tammy and you guys, and maybe we can all get together and figure something out that makes sense.
Yeah, we'd be happy to convene a meeting, Grace. So chat, if you could look into that, that would be great.
Yeah, absolutely, Dave. I had heard, I think someone through Swan Valley Connections had reached out to me with a note that the federal government was planning on looking at adding that to the federal surplus list, and that's the latest I heard. I left a message, I think, up there with, is it Sarah? I get that name right, Grace?
Yep, Sarah.
Yeah, and I
this morning.
Yeah, I don't think I heard back from Sarah yet, but yeah, I'd be happy to set something up, Dave.
Okay,
That'd
thank
be
you.
great.
Thanks.
Anything else, Grace?
Nothing right now. There's other things going. There's all these other things. Yeah, our roads. How about our roads? Our roads are so bad. Is anybody going to help us? I've been here my whole life and I've never seen them. I went up 2 roads, up Limburg Lake and Cochran Road. I check on a property there, and I'm not exaggerating. I took a video. You literally have to crawl, go 1 to 2 miles, 3 miles an hour. I've never seen them so bad. And it's every county road up here. It's not just those 2. That's all I heard at the meeting last night was about our county roads are just horrible.
Well, there's county roads in rough shape elsewhere. So you're in, for better or for worse, Grace, you're in good company.
Okay. But that's what else you asked.
Great.
Okay.
Grace, did you hear about what happened to our grader up there?
Yeah, I did. And I said that, and everybody said, well, they should lease a new one and get the roads done. So
I think something like that is underway, but I don't know the exact details.
Someone did have a question about why was it parked where it was parked, and why wasn't it parked across from the Swan Center where it usually gets parked? Maybe from now on, park it wherever where it can kind of be watched by people. I don't know. It was a question.
It's hard to say that parking properly or improperly caused vandalism.
Yeah, well, that where it was parked is, I know where it's parked. It is way off. Nobody can see it to kind of check on it. If they parked it more by the Swan Center, it's out in the open where people can kind of help watch it. I don't know, because that's awful. It got vandalized.
Some person did make that choice to vandalize that grader.
Yeah, but we don't know who.
We do not. All right. Thanks, Grace.
Yes, you're welcome. Thank you.
Jane, did you still have a question?
Her hand may be stuck in the upright position.
Okay.
There we
It
go.
seems to be. Oh, maybe it's gone.
Okay, perfect. West Valley.
Sure. We had our community conversations on April 11th, and we had some really positive feedback from that. I think people really appreciated the format of it. It seemed to flow really well, so that was good. We had a good turnout. And then on April 24th, we held I think it was our 5th or 6th candidate forum out here, and we had a really good turnout. We had decided to do the candidate forum early because we had 6 school board trustees that were vying for 3 seats. And so we had that, and then we also had county commissioners out. We had House districts, Senate districts, and again, it was a really good turnout. Reagan Meekum was just appointed to our community council, so we're excited about that. We are not going to meet again until September 12th. And then Commissioner Strohmeyer, I would like to set something up for you to come out and talk about the Big Sky Passenger Rail at that time in the fall. That would be good. We will be tabling at the June 6th open house, which is actually the Frenchtown Smurfett Stone Community Advisory Group open house. We'll have some information on the CAG and on the West Valley Community Council and how to get involved with that. Our roads are, I guess it's consistent. Our roads are horrible out here as well. And I was going to ask if there was any way that an org chart could be developed for the community councils. There's been a lot of movement around. I know Sarah Bell has just left, and there's just a lot of different, who do we go to? Who do we, just a little bit of, there's just a lot of new faces, and I think it would be really helpful to kind of identify the who's who, and not only in lands. And I never get it right. I always want to call it CAPS, but whatever it is. Anyway, with Randy on board and all the other movement, I was hoping that we could have sort of a just a cheat sheet, if you will.
Thanks, Jerry. Before we go to Stephanie, Chet, is that something that exists already or that we could pull together?
Yeah, I think so. We've got, are you looking for like a contact list, Jerry, or more of an org chart, or both?
I think both, Chet. I think that would be really helpful.
Okay.
There's always, I've been at this for a really long time, and there's always been confusion on who, just the layers, who and the who and
You bet.
so I think it would really help define roles and responsibilities, and I think it would be really helpful to know who to go to with different questions or different issues, I guess.
Yeah, no, that was something we definitely can do. And then, things are kind of getting established too. So as far as exactly who to get in touch with, we may not always have the best answer, but here in the near future, like maybe when you start meeting again in the fall, we could have folks come out and Randy even could just visit with you a little bit about where some of that department is at and some of the changes, and help maybe give some better answers to those questions as well.
That'd be great. Thank you.
You bet.
Stephanie?
I was going to second Jerry's question, because that would be great. I would love it. And if you could also put little stars by the names of the people that like to come and talk to council meetings, so that they're
We will all Stephanie, we will all come and talk. You just tell us.
Well, no, I mean, I'm talking about all the, I'm sure there's hundreds of people, but probably some of them aren't as excited to go talk to the public as others of them are. So I know you will, and Josh will, but some of the other ones might not want to talk as much. But
we can help inspire excitement for them to come out. So, okay. Thanks, Stephanie. Anything else, Jerry? Okay.
Nope, that's it. I was going to ask kind of a general question. Emmy sent out the recap of the community conversations, and I was just going to see what other community councils had anticipated doing with that information. And then I was also going to ask commissioners what you were hoping to accomplish with the combined information from the community conversations, and then the meeting that you guys can do on December 14th out here, just sort of what next steps are to do with that information. Is there an action plan? Is there a way to follow up on some of the hot items that rose to the top, such as the development of the Y and some of the other things? Just wanted to check in and see if there was any kind of action plan to follow up.
Right. Chet, do you know how we've done this thus far? And Emmy's not on the line here, so she can't provide.
Yeah, I am.
Oh, you are on the line. There you are.
Yes, I'm lurking in the background.
Okay.
Yeah, so I just kind of provide those to the council so that you know, well as community members who went to the event, so that they can get kind of some brief responses and answers and whatnot to what they maybe wrote down on worksheets that they didn't get answered at the event. And actually with your guys's, not many people actually turned those in. It seemed like most people were pretty good, which was kind of cool, but I still had staff put together what they heard most frequently. And so that's where all of those answers came from. So as far as what to do with that information, if you want follow-up, I think what I would suggest is just reaching out to specific departments to see if, you can get a presentation or something, or, get more information in that way. And you're welcome to share that report at future council meetings as well. Yeah, so it's kind of just for your information and to share out. And if you want follow-up, feel free to. That's why it has all the contact information on each page for each department.
And Jerry, we're reviewing that material also on our end internally. So if folks are raising concerns about this or that, that's something we're going to take into account as we're doing planning, strategic planning, budgeting, all of that.
Okay, I think that there were some common threads that I read through about certain topics. We've already had presentations on them. I think the feedback that I've gotten from a lot of people are, well, now what's going to happen? What are the county commissioners going to do with that information? And I think that that's what I was really looking for, is that, it was a great effort to come out. It was a really, I think it was really a great idea to have those community conversations. I think it was really, really well received. I just don't want to see that conversation stop. I want to see the conversation continue. It helps our cause so much because people feel like you're actually listening and they actually feel like there's engagement. And I just want to see, I don't want the conversation to stop.
Thanks. Fair enough. Marta?
Yeah, again, since I'm super new, this community conversation was really, I thought it was great. If had I known what it was going to be, I would have spread the word so much more. And so I agree with Jerry. I don't want to see that come to an end. I want to see that be something that at least is an annual thing that happens in our communities, because it was pretty powerful. And there were a lot of hard-hitting, not every department or whatever that was represented had a bunch of questions, but there were a few that there were a lot of questions. So I appreciated that.
Thanks. All right, I think we've made it through all the community councils. Any other comments, questions about anything? All right, well, thanks everyone for participating tonight. And let's see, again, we will be not meeting in July, August, and September, but I'm assuming we will be meeting in June. Is that correct, Maddie?
Yes, the meeting in June, let me get you an actual date here, is June 26th is the
Okay.
last meeting for summer.
Okay. So please spread the word to your other community councils or other community council members that this is something that I hope everyone find some value in, and it's great to have at least one representative from each community council, but more is welcome also. So, all right, I guess if that's everything, thanks everyone for joining us. Have a great rest of the week and happy Memorial Day weekend.
Thanks,
Thank you.
everybody.
Thanks, everyone.